coming up on The Source.
Homicide is down, shooting is down, robberies are down. Hey, Delaware, Wilmington is a safe place to live.
There's still 83 families that have been impacted in some way, somehow, whether they lost a loved one or not.
It's down from the year before, but under your administration, it's still not down. I don't feel that Wilmington is any safer today than it was yesterday.
Contract to a new company that didn't even have a business license.
What?
They have committed hundreds of cases of fraud.
Some have changed a lot, some
This is Dr. Curry.
This is Kobe Owens.
Tanae Darby.
And welcome to The Source. Well, it's a new year. We know last week was the first Sunday in the year, but this is really officially our first week. And we always start off by talking about the city of Wilmington. Brother, sister, did you get a chance to read the report on WDEL and even the end of the year report from Chief Tracy? He's very clear, without any equivocation, that homicide is down, shooting is down, robberies are down. Hey, Delaware, Wilmington is a safe place to live.
Yeah, it's safe. You just come on, move down here, get one of them apartments at the riverfront, go eat down at the riverfront. We're safe down here. Nothing's gonna happen to you.
And then just 2 days ago, one of my members was robbed at gunpoint right on the east side section of the city. But all this stuff is down. Could y'all help me to understand where is this data coming from?
Yeah, so this data is what has been reported through the Wilmington PD. It's the data that they were supposed to be collecting all throughout the year and reporting out to match up with other, whether it's the news journals tracker and stuff like that, and a presentation on where we're at public safety wise. Now, this is a report that I think people want it every year, right? Not just when the numbers are slightly down a little bit, but they want it every year when it's bad, when it's good. Now there has been less shootings, right? There has been, but again, we know that not all were reported the proper way.
Thank you.
We still had some issues with, and I experienced this personally. I lost a family member due to gun violence, and that was reported as just a domestic abuse, not a shooting in the city of Wilmington.
So just to make sure, because one of the things that Jay always told us when he was on the show, make sure that everybody's understanding what you're saying so far. You're saying that yes, it may be down, and it may not be down because everything is not always reported.
Right. I think overall shootings are down.
Okay.
Right? So from this report, right, there's only 83 shootings this year compared to the 118 the year before. So that is a decrease. That is still a very high number.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
For the city outside.
There's still 83 families that have been impacted in some way, somehow, whether they lost a loved one or not. So we need to continue, right, to work to decrease that number. Will it ever be zero? Probably not, right? But how can we get it down? I would be happy if we were able to have a year where, we were in the single digits or the low teens.
Yeah, but think about this. When he came 6 years ago, let's compare the numbers to that year. Then we'll see if there's a true, because I noticed in his interview, he did say, I'm going to be handing the keys over once the mayor announced the new chief of police. He said, this is the best time to do it when things are on the upswing. Well, if you came in and the shootings was at 78 and now it's at 86 or whatever the number you said,
Mm.
then it's down from the year before, but under your administration, it's still not down. And that's how I look at data. Data can be manipulated to however it best fit you. And that's probably why you made the comment that it, this data was not given out every year.
Mhm.
Because what happens is when it was high and high, no one wanted to talk about it. Now all of a sudden it's a little bit low. We want to bring it out and broadcast it.
No, I agree. And like you said, data can be manipulated. How you categorize things and what category it falls under can be manipulated. It could be interpreted to be two things like domestic violence or is it a gun shooting, right?
Yeah.
So those things can happen. So I'm not really bought on it. I think it's all, we all know Chief Tracy is leaving. He's going to St. Louis. I think it's all just a feel good thing to send out to the community that we're losing our chief of police. But we're fine. We're okay, right? Trying to put out that message. It's all political.
When you're dealing with people's lives, I don't think it's feasible to be political.
Mhm.
I really don't. And while the question that should be answered is, are we safer today than we were yesterday? And the answer is in certain communities. That's why you had your facetious comment of just move on in. Let's go down to the riverfront and live there. That's happy land. But on Pine Street, on 4th Street, is this community safer today than it was last year? See, and that's what we have to start getting into when people have these reports and they make these presentations to make sure that what they are dealing with is what it needs to be. That's all right. And we're back. Well, some of you may be saying, "Oh my gracious, what just happened?" Well, I don't know. All these city council people going home to be with the Lord. I wasn't too sure if our sister Shanae was getting ready to take her flight, but she's all right now, and we're very grateful. She just had a little bit of something in her throat, and she needed to get some water. But this is what happens when you're on live TV.
She ate a Popeye biscuit before that. I saw it. Before we started filming, she ate a Popeye's biscuit.
Oh, and it choked her?
She needed some sweet tea with it.
Oh, wow. So, well, we apologize, but I'm glad that you're all right, Sister Shanae. And we do not want anything to happen to you. We're going to keep you as a safeguard. But this is what happens when you're dealing with live TV. I mean, you have these moments, but we're going to continue on what we were talking about. And we were talking about Chief Tracy's report. And I'm just always shocked and mesmerized how people do not report all the details or the details that shares enough information to make the community feel safe. I don't feel that Wilmington is any safer today than it was yesterday. And as a fact, I think it's more dangerous than ever before because some stuff is reported and some things are not.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, people are still scared in their houses.
Yes.
I know over by my way, there's kids who aren't even able to go outside and play. They can't walk to Haynes Park. They can't come play on a church field. They can't go. They can't walk to their own community center. Right? Their parents have to. I'll drop you off after, or you get dropped off after school, and you wait there till I pick you up. And that's just the reality that we all have to live in right now. Right? No one wants to live in conditions like that, but I think, and this is why we've said multiple times, this is why we all need to come together. Because why one area of the city may be, safer than it was, 6 years ago, there's other parts that are really struggling right now who want to be safe in their own houses, right? So, that's kind of where we're at with things right now.
Yeah. Well, the report did well. He felt that he's leaving in a very good position, and I feel bad because that's only partial. There are certain things like the mayor can certainly congratulate the riverfront efforts because he can say, when I was mayor, we did millions and millions of dollars on that riverfront, and we made tourists are much better and more attractive to Wilmington. But the city where the people who are struggling, they should have quality of life as well. And I don't think that we should be reporting out stuff to think that because one section of the city is doing better, that the whole city is doing well. And I think there needs to be some true attention put on that as well. Let me ask this question as we look at the report that he gave to WDL as well as his report. He seemed to suggest that the city had a plan, but didn't really reveal it. But because the homicides are down and the shooting is down, does it really say that a plan was really in place? And why was anybody afraid to share the plan? I'm just trying to understand that.
That I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question. I'm sure that there's an internal plan that Chief Tracy and the mayor and his top lieutenants kind of work through. Um, but again, to just keep saying, "All right, give us time, give us time, give us time," and you've been saying this for 5 years. Um, we saw record numbers for 4 of those years. Um, I don't I don't see that overall plan being successful. And especially it wasn't like it was a huge decrease,
Right,
right?
right.
118 was last year,
Mhm.
83 was this year.
Mhm.
That's still within a window of margin, right? That's still not great impact.
Mhm.
Um, and that's still, again, I'm gonna keep saying that's a lot of families that have been impacted. Um, and a lot of families whose lives will always be changed.
Yeah, yeah. Well, what I hope is that we would take a close look at what we need to do. But what I'm going to say to the city council, which most of them do not like me, and that's fine. Do not open if an African American is appointed, which I don't know if that's going to be the reality, as the chief of police. I don't want to hear all these committee meetings trying to lambaste because what he was permitted to do under the cover is what you all will be held accountable for with the new person, especially if it's an African American or Latino. Because I watch carefully, and I don't want to speak ill of the dead, so I'm just going to be careful with my comments now. But I watch very carefully how people treated the last chief of staff. I mean, not chief of staff, chief of police, and how we need to do this, we need to do that, and put every kind of meeting they could to control the police department. And then when Chief Tracy came in, who happened to be a Caucasian gentleman, everybody went to Silent Night, Holy Night. And I think that's unfair. But whoever comes in, I hope they are able to bring our communities together and to give us a safer street, because to have people can't even go to the corner store is just not healthy. Yeah. So another thing I want to talk about with the little bit of time we have left is I want to talk about Damar Hamlin, and that was really I was watching the game. As a matter of fact, my wife don't really look at football and things, but we were there in the room and watching the game, and that was really a very sad moment. I congratulate the NFL, although there's some rumors they wanted to continue it on. I don't know all the details of that, but it was really, it showed us how gingerly life really is. 1 minute he tackles the guy, and a matter of fact, he tackles the guy, and he falls and jump right back up, and then he collapsed.
Yeah. As a former football player, and someone who was watching the game, right? I play fantasy football since I was in high school, and this was championship weekend. As someone who was watching that game live, when he hit the ground and the way he hit the ground, that struck me, right?
The first time or
the second time.
Second time, okay, right.
It was a great hit, don't get me wrong. But the game wasn't stopped because of the NFL. The NFL wanted to continue after
Yeah, I
just a
heard that.
5-minute period once the ambulance was gone. Both players, both sidelines, it started with the Bills, called their NFL Player Association rep and said, "We're not going back out there. We want to go be with our brother." The Bengals on the other sideline, their rep is now on the phone with them, seeing how they're doing. He says, "Bills don't want to go back out." Bengals said, "We standing with them. We not going back out." Um, and both reps had to call and argue with the NFL for the NFL to officially
Oh wow.
postpone the game. But either way, whether the NFL did it officially or unofficially, those players were not getting back on that field.
So to make sure I understand, some of the reports that I'm hearing is correct, that the NFL say, hey, just another thing, this 5 minutes, get back on the field and do what you got to do. But the teams
Right.
decided that we're human.
Yeah.
We are people.
Yeah.
We're not animals or just toys.
Right.
because for so long that's really been
Exactly.
what it is.
And this is why the union is so strong,
Okay.
right? To have that collective voice there for you. Following no one knew what was happening. And we were able to get an update that he went into cardiac arrest.
Yeah.
And the most likely scenario what happened is everyone has a heartbeat.
Mhm.
But for a small second,
Mhm.
there's a stoppage
Right.
each beat. And when he hit the player on the Bengals, he hit that player in his chest at the same time as that stop.
Mhm.
And that's what caused him to go into cardiac arrest.
Wow.
Now, his conditions are getting a little better,
Right.
but the night of the hit, he was sedated and on breathing tubes. He had to have assisted breathing. And players left.
Yeah.
Players left the game before it was officially called. And
I've never in my career now. I didn't play college football. I did play high school. They didn't have football at the school I went to, the Great Lincoln University. So I ended up wrestling. But let me say this to you: I have not seen big wealth of men like yourself crying to the level I saw them crying.
yeah.
I mean, this is just I saw humanity at its best.
So, for me, it brings flashbacks of when incidents like that happen. When I saw him laying on the ground, it gave me a flashback when one of my former teammates was knocked unconscious, was laying there. Well, we didn't know. We weren't on medical staff. We thought he was just knocked down. We reached down to help him up, and his body's just lifeless, right? We didn't know he was out completely. His life was forever changed. He had to retire from football and everything. It brings flashbacks of all those moments, all the injuries you've seen on the field. It brings back. But one of the good things from this was someone found that DeMar was trying to raise money for a toy drive.
Yeah.
And one thing I like, whether it's Bill Mafia, the Eagles, almost every sports team has now donated to this toy drive, which the original goal was only $2,500. It has now surpassed $7 million.
Right. I saw that.
And his jersey sales since Monday night have now become #1 in the nation.
Yeah.
And people are getting their jerseys and posting that we stand with
Even
you.
non-Bucks fans.
Everyone.
Yes.
Everyone. The profits from that alone was $5.5 million. And the producer, the distributor of the jerseys has announced that they're going to donate all $5.5 million and any additional revenue that comes in after they made that statement to this toy drive. So he's a Pittsburgh native.
Yeah. Yes, he is.
Pittsburgh area native. Went to the University pay with Delaware's own Brian O'Neill, who went there.
Yes, because research.
So again, this is all community. We're all connected some way, somehow. So,
and that's where I wanted to go to. You were going to say something? I don't want to.
I was gonna say for me, I don't really watch football. I'm not. But when it happened, it was all over social media, and I was reading a few articles. And what really hit me too is the bigger conversation about race and sports. And I didn't know African Americans were more likely to have concussions, more likely all of these issues, medical issues. And then there was a settlement that happened in 2015, I think it was, around race norms in regards to how they are compensated for medical issues like concussions or being. So they thought that for some, well, we know race and ignorance, but that Black folks or Black people who are athletes, when they get hurt, that they deserve less money because all of the scientists say that we're less than human, right? So that just ended in 2015,
right?
7 years ago,
right?
Well, 8 years ago now, right?
How they compensate?
How they compensate. So I thought that was wild. I never thought of it.
And it's so interesting how the conversation from a strong understanding of football to even just not understanding the game that well, but you had a chance to see all the coverage and how all the dynamics. There's one element I want to add to the dynamics. You did a very good job of even sharing the connection to Delaware. Did a very good job with seeing the racism that's in the sport. But I want to bring the element of family.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's from the Pittsburgh area. I happen to know his pastor personally, and it's really interesting about the dynamics of the family. His mom was there at the game. I think security must didn't know who she was at one point, and she trying to get to the field. I take my hat off to you mothers. I just dad is in his life. Don't misunderstand that. I'm not trying to, but he wasn't there that night. But mom wasn't having it. She got there. I mean, got on that field. She rode in that ambulance with our son, and has been his shining light the whole time. Now we don't know exactly. We hear he's still critical. His family all flew in because the family is important.
Aren't they?
It's important, and for all who really don't understand the value of family, it's very much important. And even though his uncle misspoke by saying he had to be resuscitated twice, he only had to be resuscitated once. But the uncle did not have any malicious intent. He was trying to give some information because he was hurting. He needed to go out and get some air. CNN caught him, and he just tried to respond. But family was just his ability to want to raise $2,500 for a community effort speaks to his values. For those of you who work in this community as hard as you do, for the no money that you get, it's important that people understand it's a part of our values. It's a part of who we are as African American people too. Yeah. So I talked about the family, but also his family. It comes out of his family, not culture. Yeah, well, his family has meant so much to him, and all the things that I've heard about him was just unbelievable. And I'm very grateful that we were able to see African American male whose life was worth something. Because I can go back to your comments. At one point, it was not. It wasn't. And for the NFL to even think about even starting that game again speaks to how insensitive they are. But the teams that come together, I saw white people crying. I saw black people crying. I saw big people crying. I saw little people crying because they were hurt. And you know what? We all felt that.
Well, again, just watching it, you don't know what, you don't know if he's going to wake up.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going on in the moment. So that's also very scary. But then also just seeing, the raw emotion of the people who sometimes we put on pedestals as, oh, they're big football players. They don't really get hurt, right? Yeah. Or this is your favorite person. And now you see them breaking down, full face of tears. The emotions start flowing for everyone. So again, it was a great sign of how the community has rallied. And again, regardless of what team you supported, Monday at 8:29, by the end of the night, everyone was a Bills fan.
Yeah. If for no other reason, for the humanity part of them. And there's a person by the name of Ware. I can't think of his first name right now, but he's for CNN. He does the sports. And
DeMarcus Ware.
Ware it's not DeMarcus. It's but anyway, Ware is his last name. And he played football and he got injured. And now he does the commentary for CNN. And to see him even break down, he's the macho man.
Yeah.
It just shows me humanity is still real. People still care. We've allowed the dirty politics and the games people play to people think that we who are human just don't care. But it really showed there. So I just want to say to the Hamlin family, not that they watching this because we don't know who's looking, that we're definitely praying for you in our thoughts, you in our prayers, and that we believe that he's going to get off that respirator. We believe that he'll be able to shift back to being a total being, because the question is asked, can he recover? And listen to some of the medical people, he can. Whether or not he'll play football again is not important to me.
Right.
The quality of his life is. So I hope and trust that he will be able to, and we're praying for the mom and dad and the whole family. You are in our prayers and thoughts. And I ask for those of you who watch us, please pray. And if you don't know exactly what we were talking about in this segment of the show, please just Google it. It's everywhere. His name is Damar Hamlin, and that's Hamlin. And you'll see so much of what has happened. But just take a moment and consider praying for him for his speedy recovery. We'll be right back.
Tune in at 8 a.m. every Sunday for our worship services. Join us at 9 a.m. on YouTube and Facebook Live by typing Zion Fair Baptist Church. We are Wilmington's most exciting church.
New guests, new conversations, new stories every Sunday at 11 a.m. Grab your cup of coffee and tune in with Dr. Curry for our weekly episodes of Coffee with Curry. News all across the nation, Wilmington's latest headlines, advocating for change in the community with Dr. C.T. Curry, Kobe Owens, and Shanae Darby. Tune in to The Source every Sunday at 5 p.m.
And we're back. Well, this is the time where we deal with democracy and all our different issues and what's going on in the city. And I call that the Shanae Scoop. What's going on with Shanae Scoop today?
I just wanted to give an update. I know a few weeks ago we talked about the fees and fines announcement that the mayor had about some reforms
Yes.
on the parking ticket amount, doing some things around the residential parking stickers. I'm trying to streamline and make it an easier process and, being able to issue it, expirations, getting rid of some 2-hour parkings that don't need 2-hour parking anymore. So it was like a whole slew of things. But I just wanted to get an update on like where we are around fees and fines
Okay.
reform. So we know the city of Wilmington was accepted into a national program to work on fees and fines reform. So we're still doing that. The city got $50,000. We already dispersed some of the funds. So with the Friendship House, we have a partnership with them where if you need up to $200 to go towards your parking tickets, so it could be red light camera tickets, it could be any type of meter tickets, anything along that lines, or if let's say you get towed or if you're booted and you need up to $200, you can apply at the Friendship House. So you can just go to their website, Google Friendship House in Wilmington, Delaware. I probably can share the website, but if you go on there, you're able to apply and have access to that money to be able to apply towards your ticket. So like
How much money? Now you said $50,000, or is it? You don't know how much money people will does how much money does the Friendship House have access to
right.
help? Because you got about 80,000, not 70,000 residents. So I'm trying to figure
So
out.
it's not a lot of money. So we
Right.
were able to at least start it off with about I think it was between $6,000-$8,000.
Oh, okay.
So
All
we
right.
were able to start it off. The Friendship House wants to have this be one of their funds that they continue to do. So they
Okay.
already have other funds to help people with like electric bills, like
Okay.
different things. They want to continue this. We only launched at the end of December. We already got a few applications and hearing from people who are impacted who just don't have the funds because of course there's an income requirement. You have to be a Wilmington resident, like those things to be able to apply to the fund. But we did 6,000 to 8,000. I have some city council people who reached out and said they want to put money towards it, and then at the
From their
Friendship-
budget.
from their budget.
Okay.
And also the Friendship House, through their regular donation, they're going to put money towards that fund.
So when you said that there's a $50,000 grant, was that for the state or that was just the grant total from the federal government?
So it's not through the federal government. So there's a program called the National Fees and Fines Justice Center.
Okay.
Right. So they had a program where cities and counties could apply.
Okay.
To say, hey, we need help. We
Okay.
want technical assistance. We need funding.
Okay.
To solve this issue in our city. So we applied. The city of Wilmington was accepted.
How much did the city of Wilmington
So
get?
the city of Wilmington got $50,000.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to get to. All right, so we got $50,000. They gave the house, the Friendship House.
About $8,000.
Let's just say $8,000. So where is the oversight to say where the other 42,000 went?
Right. So on the website that will be going
Okay.
live, well, it should be live by now. you'll be able to track how the money
Okay.
is being spent. So I know for sure 2 community organizers have been hired, someone to manage them. We're looking for a researcher at UD,
Mhm.
and also to host a training
Okay.
to the community of people who've been impacted by either water billing or parking tickets.
Okay.
So we're looking to do a training with them to teach them how to organize around that issue and to have a voice. So it will be transparent. So it should
Okay.
be all on
That's
the
important
website.
to me. All right. Very good.
Yes.
So I'm glad to hear that. So if you had an issue with a parking fee, you can apply. Doesn't mean you're going to get it. Just mean you
You
can
could
apply.
apply.
Right. And you were very clear on that. You were very clear on that. And if there, but if there's any, when you apply, if you find any irregularities or you find any issues, you need to get in touch with us, because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make sure that we use this vehicle to help seniors, to help middle age, to help young people understand you have rights. Some people take advantage of these things and they are grateful. Others don't take advantage of it and say there's no help for them.
Yeah.
So, but if when they're trying to take advantage of it and there's an issue, we want to hear about it.
Yeah, of course, of course. And then also by this point, we should also have a fees and fines task force set up
Okay.
through city council. So that's
Oh, okay.
the work group through a program, and that's going to end. The task force is going to look at all fees and fines throughout the city. It's already been passed through city council. We just have to do some appointmentships, assign people to the task force, and it's really about accountability. Because we already had fees and fines reform happen back in 2019.
Right.
The administration said that they were going to set up an online appeal parking ticket,
Uh-huh.
that they were going to.
Has that been done?
It hasn't been done.
Okay.
They said they were going to send notices to residential parking permits that are about to expire. It never
Has that been
happened.
done?
No, the only thing that happened on that list was expanding the Park Mobile payment app to the meters. So like when you go to the meters, you can
Okay.
use that
So
app.
you named three things, and I want her to put them on the screen. I don't
Yes.
want the first thing you said was what?
Appeal parking tickets online.
All right, that was the first thing you were promised by the city of Wilmington mayor's office.
Yep.
Not done.
Yep. Sending notices to residential parking permits
All
that's about to expire.
all residents were supposed to get notices about their permits about to expire. Has that been done?
It has not happened.
Not done.
Yeah.
So
And the third thing was expanding the parking mobile payment app to meters citywide. So that did happen.
and making sure they can get your money. That happened.
Yeah, that happened. They
Okay.
made sure that happened
Yeah.
where they were able
Yeah.
to get your money. But if anything, since 2019, it got worse, right? People have to wait longer to hear about their appeal, and inconsistent responses about the appeal process. There's errors in parking tickets being issued. The city stopped informing citizens of their rights to even appeal to JP
Wow.
Morgan Chase, right? They awarded a towing contract to a new company that didn't even have a business license. They
What?
have committed hundreds of cases of fraud. So currently, the city is in a lawsuit where 2 Wilmington residents partnered with a center of justice, a different center, to sue the city because of the practices around towing and booting.
Oh, what commissioner is in charge of that department?
So,
I hate to put you on a spot like that.
yeah, so that's Public Works. So that's
Oh
Commissioner
my.
Billy Williams.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna be quiet because I need everybody.
Yes,
Oh,
yes. So right now, in the reforms that have been recently announced, it's about accountability. The
Yeah,
task force will make
yeah.
sure what was supposed to happen in 2019 and what was supposed to happen, and he announced it in 2022
Uh-huh.
to make sure those things actually happen.
And you said this accountability committee is gonna come out of the city council.
Yeah, it's going to come out of the city.
Are you gonna be on that
Yeah,
group?
I'm going to be on the committee.
Okay.
Chris Johnson, the finance person,
Ah,
Maria Cabrera, the
ah,
council person at large.
uh-huh.
And then we have some community people and some NPCs and civic association.
Are you gonna be on it?
Kobe is on
Believe
it.
it.
Okay. At least I got the voices. Okay. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm listening to some of the stuff, and I'm like, okay, all we gotta do is go in the back room and make sure
Yeah,
nobody
so
know
this
this.
is about accountability.
Okay, I
and
agree.
to talk about more about how we can reform the system even more, and it's about unity. So originally, I had administration involved on the task force,
Mm.
and they pulled out and said they didn't want to be a part of it.
Oh,
So so that's it.
okay. I like the check system. That's why I told the people in the back, put this up so people can see it. So tell me a little bit about this recycling program with the trees with the city.
So yeah, that's pretty quick. So starting throughout the month of January, you can put your trees out on your trash collection day.
Oh,
And
okay.
the city, the real trees, no artificial ones.
Oh,
It has to be the real one. It has to be the real one. They'll come and discard it for you. I think they have a partnership with the Delaware Horticultural
okay.
Center, and they're going to be shredding the trees for free for the city. So
Okay. Well, that's good. Repeat that. When does this note? This starts this week or?
Yeah, throughout the whole month of
Oh, for
January.
the month of January, if you have a real live tree, you can put it out, and the city will collect them
Yep.
at no charge to you. And because there's a partnership that they have, I think that's very good.
Yep, yep. So make
Very
sure there's no decorations on it. Take the
Yeah.
lights off. Take the tree stand. Just put the
Okay.
tree out there.
Just put the tree out.
And trash collection will get it.
And you got to say those things because I can see me now putting my fake tree out there, saying, "Okay, I don't want this tree anymore, so I'm just gonna put it out there." Yeah, so that's very good, very good. Well, I think that's very good, but I like this accountability piece, and I hope and trust that you stay encouraged on city council when things don't go right, and let's just talk through it and see what happens. One last thing I want to do before we go to our break and get ready for our Kobe Corner is when is the deadline again for the District 1 situation?
Yeah, so the deadline is January 6th. So
Okay.
it passed by
Okay.
now.
Now, when are y'all gonna get the names of all those individuals who have applied?
I'm hoping on January 6th that that we have the names. So hopefully by the next time we meet, we could be discussing the names on there.
Is it illegal to say, like we did a list? Did we do a list the last time of all the people who applied?
No, it's not illegal. Once it's public, it's
Okay,
public.
we want you to come back on next show just before they start getting just who they're there, and I probably want to discuss some of it because I think I'm not getting a hopeful for nothing, but I want to see who's on this list, and I want our community to see who's on this list and see what the
Yeah.
outcomes because things happen behind the scene.
Yeah, so currently right now I know for sure it's only 2 apps, but hopefully by the end of last week that more will come in and that we have more people to review. So
Okay. All right. And if it's only 2 apps, we want to discuss them.
yeah, let's do it.
Because at the end of the day, we want to do it. That's a pretty good district over there, isn't it?
Yes,
District
the
1.
first
Yeah.
district is
Yeah.
The best
popping.
district.
Oh, is it the
Yeah,
best
it's
district?
the best
Okay.
district out there.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay.
But yeah, no, I love the first district.
Okay. Well, we love you loving the first district, but I just hope and trust that the leadership who don't live in the first district understand what the first district needs as opposed to what they need in order to get a certain amount of agenda approved.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
I know what I'm saying. I understand that the district is just wonderful. Matter of fact, the last city council person from the first district was a wonderful person. All right,
Mhm.
we'll be right back.
Join us at 9 a.m. on Facebook Live every Sunday by typing Zion Fair Baptist Church.
That Jesus felt what you're feeling, but he did not sin. Am I in the word? Have one who has been tempted in every way, just as we are, yet he did not sin.
We are Wilmington's most exciting church. Join us at 9 a.m. on YouTube every Sunday by typing Zion Fair Baptist Church.
Oh my God, help me today. Which means every storm is a school. Every trial is a teacher. Every experience is an education. And every difficulty is development.
We are Wilmington's most exciting church.
And we're back. Well, Kobe, what's going on with the Kobe Corner?
Yeah, so last year, 2022, President Biden, one of his biggest wins was the passage and the signing of the bipartisan infrastructure law, right? So now it's 2023. It's time for those funds to start hitting our communities, right? So the first part was the $40 billion to repair and rebuild some of our bridges across America.
Okay.
So President Biden, Secretary Pete Buttigieg, Vice President Kamala Harris, the bipartisan infrastructure administrator, Mitch Landrieu, they all hit the road this past week to talk about key investments, talking about investments to the Golden State Bridge out in California, in Cincinnati, in Covington, Kentucky, and Chicago, Illinois, all across.
Right.
Another project a little closer to us is the Bay Bridge down in Maryland.
Right.
And then also here, the route, 495 bridge, the Senator Roth bridge, William Roth bridge, are all going to see investment into it. We understand and we see that bridges are crumbling all across America. In 2022, we saw what happened in Pittsburgh right after they swore in their first African American mayor, and a bridge collapsed there, hurting numerous people. No one passed away, but a lot of people were hurt. So our bridges are crumbling, and now is the perfect time to start rebuilding them. So it's going to be very interesting to see how states are implementing it, what projects they're prioritizing, and it's always good to see investment like this, right? Because it puts good paying jobs out there for people to get involved with, especially through union jobs that have prevailing wages and
I think
things
that's a
like
part
that.
of that's a part of the agreement that they have to
Right.
be union jobs. But what I'm really going to be interested in seeing is how much of this will be Delaware companies who handle our stuff.
Right.
Because all too often we go to Pennsylvania, still union. They're going to go to Pennsylvania and get Philadelphia folks and get folks from Jersey, and the people who are right in this area are not able to get some of those jobs. So it's going to be interesting. It's exciting, but it's also interesting to watch and see who's going to be getting these contracts.
Right. And I think another good thing that President Biden did, he didn't just put up public dollars. He has gone out and worked with the private sector to get them to invest back in the communities, especially communities where they profit from, right? So community or organizations like Ford is putting up $1.8 billion to invest in the Avalon Lake, Ohio assembly plant. And it's going to create another 1,800 new jobs there under the United Auto Workers Union. Intel is investing $20 billion into semiconductors, and then that's also going to be paired with money that they're going to get from the Chips and Science Act. So you have a lot of money coming into this that's going to be both public and private sector to really look to stimulate the economy and get people back to work at good paying jobs, not minimum wage jobs, but good paying jobs.
But I want to say, because people like our sister Shanae, who is critic of Joe Biden, I got to give him credit. If when it comes down to some of the things like this infrastructure, when it comes down to really being able to give the poor class economic wages or jobs, opportunities, he has really done his job. I mean, sure, he's dealing with a messed up Congress, and honestly, if Manchin would not have stopped that train, the Biden train, it would have been a whole lot more money given out. Not that we got to, everything is about giving for free, but a lot of stuff was blocked. Obama did very well, but even with the Obamacare, it was Biden who kind of like delivered that for him because he wanted it to happen. So even though some of us, and I blame it on you, but I'm more critical of him than you are. But I have to sit back and think about, he really did do his job. So does he deserve a second chance? I still believe he does now. I didn't at first. I was saying, no, let him go away. But
He's the only option.
no, well, for the Democrats, he is the only option. I think he should be the only option. But anybody else wouldn't work. I didn't even cut into your time, but I just thought about that. I'm grateful that we are in this season of gratitude to be able to look at what he's done for real, even with the opposition that was there facing him, and he was able to deliver for poor class people. That's important to me.
I agree with you, and one of the things I say is, and I'm actually going to be talking about it in a little bit, but he is the best option we have right now, and I'm grateful to have him in the White House pushing this legislation instead of the other guy.
Who 45?
45.
Okay, Coke 45.
But again, as this infrastructure bill money continues to roll out, another huge part of it is broadband infrastructure. And not just looking at it in the light of, all right, we have rural communities that have horrible broadband connections. We also have urban areas where broadband isn't accessible because of the extreme fees that are attached to it. So fees such as how much Comcast, like if you look at the city of Wilmington, has a monopoly pretty much here in the city of Wilmington. Our prices are a lot higher here in the city versus out in the county. So it's going to look to address some of the things like that as well too. But next, I want to bring it back to Delaware a little bit. So the committees have been released for the 2023 to 2024 General Assembly for the House. And some of those committees have changed a little bit. Some haven't changed a lot. Or some have changed a lot. Some haven't. But I would say my going into this, the committee that I think is going to be the star committee because of all the legislation in the pipeline is the House Housing Committee.
Okay.
And it's going to be led by former Black Caucus Chairwoman Kendra Johnson.
Okay.
who has experience working at Edwin and working in the housing field. You have Vice Chair Larry Lampert from the Claymont area. Also on that, you have Willie Carson from Smyrna, Carrie Evelyn Harris, who's new from Dover, Ray Moore from Middletown, Parker Selby from Milton area down in Sussex,
Right.
and Medina Wilson Anton from the Newark area. Those are the Democrats of it. And what sticks out is of those people I just listed, all but one are African American.
Wonderful.
It's the first time ever we've had a majority minority committee in either chamber of the House.
And it's for the House side. Okay.
It's for the House side.
Okay.
The Senate Housing Committee has expanded its purview to also include land use, to really look at how they can start addressing the lack of affordable housing here and how they can better use the land here in the state of Delaware to address the crisis that we're currently facing right now of about 19,000 units short of affordable housing here in the state of Delaware. Other than that, some of the other committees that I'm looking forward to is, of course, the Health Committee, which is chaired by Melissa Minor Brown and Vice Chair Carrie Evelyn Harris, and then Judiciary Committee. Judiciary Committee is going to have a lot of bills to do with policing reform, criminal justice reform, between judiciary and corrections, prison reform, and then also a bill that I think is just a moral compass for the state is the Homeless Bill of Rights.
Yeah.
And that we shouldn't be discriminated against someone because they are unhoused, and we should be trying to help them as best as possible. So that's going to be chaired. The Judiciary Committee is going to be chaired by Sean Lynn from Dover, but it has some great allies on it, such as Sherry Dorsey Walker from the 3rd
Yeah.
District up here in Wilmington, Sophie Phillips from Bear area, Bear Christiana area, and Cindy Romer from the Newark area. Also on the committee is Frank Cook. So it's some good people on it that I hope they really listen to, you know, how they can change the face of our criminal justice system here in Delaware. So I'm looking forward to seeing where the Senate committees are going to be. I know that, you know, some members have moved around. Senator Marie Pickney is now on Bond Committee, and Senator Darius Brown is now on Joint Finance Committee, which is the top committee. So
Now he's not on bond anymore?
he's not on Bond. So Bond is right under JFC. So he's been elevated up. So both him representing the 2nd District of the city of Wilmington, and Stephanie Bolden representing the 2nd District on the House side will be the two Wilmington voices on that
Now,
committee.
didn't he chair that committee at one point?
No, he chaired the Judiciary Committee.
Okay. Is he still chairing that?
I don't believe he's the chair of Judiciary. I believe he's the chair of Community Engagement, but the full list hasn't come out yet.
Okay. And so now he moves from the bond up to the finance.
Correct.
And you said that's a step up.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm always paying attention, especially to people like Darius, who has really poured into this community
Yeah.
financially. I mean, there's no question. I mean, he and I have disagreements on just about everything, but when it comes down to his commitment to the community that voted him in, I can't do anything but just say you won, because and that's why I was listening to you very carefully about Sherry Dorsey, Sherry Dorsey
Walker.
how she's just a champion,
Yeah.
and where she lands, I'm always watching. You know, she's an AKA, but we love her anyway. But we pay close attention, and her mom, because her mom always watching us. How you doing? But where she lands, where Darius lands, these people I pay attention to. Where also Stephanie Bolden land, because they got our best interests at heart, and I want to make sure that we are keeping them in positions, and other folks know we're supporting them. Now, some other people, they just there to get a name for themselves. Not everybody. Because I didn't name your name doesn't mean I feel that way about you. But some I know that's just down there. You know. So go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut in.
No. And then outside of that, you know, again, as you know, the session, they get sworn in next week.
Yeah.
So as session starts, please stay engaged. There's still going to be a virtual option to be engaged, to watch, to see what's going on down there, understand the votes that are going on. And, you know, this is my favorite time of the year, because now the bills start to get pre-filed. It gives me an opportunity. I'm up late at night I'm up until 3 in the morning just reading through bills,
Good nerd.
reading through, what title it's, how it's going to affect the title that's currently written, how is it going to affect other laws that are already implemented and everything like that, and where, how best it will serve the community.
For those of you who are watching, especially young, if you have any young kids, I just called him a nerd because honestly, this is what a nerd looks like. But look at the power and the knowledge that he has. He reads these bills like a professor so that he can be able to speak on them. That's why some people, when he called them in on their comments and their bills, they shocked that somebody in Wilmington would be able to read that much, understand, and be able to articulate positions. That's just awesome, Mr. Nerd. We're gonna call you Mr. Nerd. All right, good. I'm sorry.
All right, next up, I have the race for 2024. Now,
Oh wow.
you kind of mentioned it a little earlier about Biden and everything. I don't think he's going to receive a legitimate, serious challenge for the Democratic primary, right? That vote is coming up for the DNC to set the dates and the schedule for what states get to go win for the DNC primary. But on the Republican side, you have former President Trump has already announced that he's running for president.
Yeah.
There is rumors that both Larry Hogan, Charlie Baker, and a few other anti-Trumps are considering running for office. Then you have Ron DeSantis, who's not anti-Trump, but also would probably be a better option for the Republicans. I'm not saying I want him. He's also considering running and has started running ads. And then lastly, African American U.S. Senator from South Carolina, Tim Scott, is being recruited by other members of the U.S. Senate to potentially run for that Republican nominee. So this is going to be very interesting.
A lot of people think because a person is black that they're gonna get support from a
Because we had Obama.
No, Obama, he came up out of nowhere and he earned his stripes quickly.
He did.
But Tim Scott has not done. There were bills that we thought that Tim Scott should have certainly
Been on. Yep.
and he ran away from and voted against.
Yep.
So what makes him think that he would be even a viable candidate?
Because
Exactly.
he's black.
Because he's
And
black.
people think because you're black, they're going to vote for you.
Well, that's what happened in the city of
chair
Wilmington.
of Blacks for Trump is a white woman. So, we know how they think.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of us on board with them. But yeah, so the race for 2024 has started. I do want to highlight that Senator Debbie Stabenow from Michigan has announced on Thursday that she will not be seeking re-election in 2024.
Yeah.
This is interesting because there's a lot of key rising stars that live in Michigan. And 3 of them is the current governor, Gretchen Whitmer, who is a potential candidate for president in 2028, who just won re-election. Their lieutenant governor, Gilchrist, who is a African-American male, who's a former state senator, is another potential. And then the third that I would say right now would probably be Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg, who he had lived in Indiana, but once he became secretary, he moved to Michigan. So it's going to be very interesting to see who actually runs in that primary and how it all comes out. 2024 has started here. In Delaware, we have an open governor seat, open lieutenant governor seat, open county exec seat, open county council president seat. Insurance commissioners up, U.S. senators up, U.S. House is up, mayors up, all the city councils up, half of county councils up.
Say it again, mayor and whole city council. Say it again,
Yeah.
mayor and all city council. Yeah.
The entire state house and
Yes.
half of the state senate's up. It's a lot of races that are going to be up
Yes.
and decided in 2024. So, stay involved, stay engaged, and keep your eye because there's going to be a lot of different people running and a lot of people moving around as well too.
And
If
one,
you want to run, like there's workshops.
Yes.
Network Delaware. There's what's the woman's one? That I did Ready to Run.
Ready to run.
Ready to Run. Like look out for these organizations. Get connected with people. Start networking now. Get your name out there. If you want to run, start reaching out to people. It's
yeah,
time.
and I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna ask you, Kobe, to please make sure on the national and the state level
Yep.
that you stay keen and we bring to our people the various people who are seeking election, and we're gonna talk about the pros and cons. We're not afraid of that. Same with you. I know you're gonna be rerunning for your seat. We want you to rerun for your seat, but we gotta know what's going on in the city. We gotta know who's running, and we gotta be honest. I'm gonna be in the middle saying, show me the track record. It's a job interview. We should be able to look and see why a person is running in, and if they got any kind of track record that is worthy to even run. Now, I'm not saying don't be discouraged not to run because maybe you've not been in the political scene. She's never been in the political scene, but is doing a remarkable job. And I think that she's going to do some even greater things as time moves on. She don't want to do more than what she's doing, but she's going to. I'm sorry, I keep jumping in your area, but
No, I appreciate it. I just got a text message announcing
I don't
that
care.
the Wilmington Police Department has a new police chief.
Oh,
And
I ain't
it's
got
a
my phone on. Wait,
26-year Wilmington Police
black
Department
guy.
veteran, Wilford Campos. And he and the incoming chief has appointed Captains Anthony Bowers and Matthew Hall as inspectors to assist him in management of department operations. He becomes the 33rd
Who was
police
this?
chief. He was raised on the city's west side and served in various positions with the Wilmington Police.
Amen.
So we will be able
Right
to
there,
talk about
live on
more
the air. But
as it goes
he's an African American, am I right? Or is he not?
on. Hispanic.
Okay. Oh, he's Hispanic.
Yes.
Hey, man, Latino. Okay. And he was raised on the west side of the city.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Man. See, that's it. That's why we love y'all being on this show, because y'all just got all the technology. And she's looking at her. I'm trying to find normally stuff pop up on my phone, but it didn't this time. But very good, very good. So that's good. Right here on live today, you were able to hear it directly as it came off the press that there is a new chief of police, and I hope we get an opportunity to meet with him and interview him, and hope he really do what needs to be done. He's from the city. That's a plus
So
already.
what happens next? So since it was appointed, the city council confirm it at this point?
Yes.
Okay.
So City Council will still have an opportunity to be involved. Council President Trippy Congo expressed that his support for the selection of Chief Campos and thanked Mayor Pazicki for reaching out during the transition period with the police department and seeking his thoughts for the on the whole department.
That's good. That's good. Good move, Mayor. Good move. Good move. Why? Because there's collaboration. You know that. So and being from the city is just major.
Yep.
Why? Not so much that everybody from the city is going to do everything right, but it gives a context. It helps with the ethos, the culture of the city. So that's a good start. That's a good start. And I hope and trust that he doesn't get tainted with the dirtiness of certain people. But that's very good. Very good.
Yes.
Nice news break. News breaking. It just need to be CNN. Justin, maybe she can do some kind of effect in there. I'm going to see if she can do that for us. Go ahead.
So as of the time of this filming,
Yes.
we still have no speaker
None.
in the U.S.
None.
House. Kevin McCarthy, for the first time in 100 years,
Yeah.
a speaker hasn't been selected on the first ballot.
Yeah.
But that didn't stop Kevin McCarthy. He said, we're going to vote again. And it failed again.
Yeah.
Then they said, we're going to vote one more time. So after 5 hours of voting, we still didn't have a speaker on day one.
And he lost.
And he lost for the third time in a row and lost additional
Right,
votes
that's right.
on that third vote. And now they adjourned. They had to go to the next day. They did votes on the next day. And they still weren't able to get a speaker. Kevin McCarthy has lost every vote, but this is symbolic. This is the first time we've had an African American win the majority of votes, or win the plurality of votes, but not the majority. You have to have 218. Hakeem Jeffries, for 6 times now, has held all Democrats together and has collected 112 votes. Now, as of right now, there's all different types of things going on. Is Kevin McCarthy still going to run, or are they going to go to option 1 or 2, or option 2 or 3, with next in line for the House Republicans? Jim Jordan has been nominated. Andy Briggs has been nominated. And I was on Capitol Hill on Tuesday and Wednesday. And there is a African-American Republican from Florida's 19th District, Byron Donalds, who was nominated for Speaker. He's a black man.
I saw that.
We have very similar facial features. As I was coming out of a meeting with a member of Congress's office, the media thought I was Byron, and they surrounded me and asked, what's your plan to get to the votes? And I'm looking at them like, what are you talking about? Because I didn't have my phone out in that meeting, so I did not know he was nominated for Speaker. But it was just a fun day on the Hill. But it's very interesting to see this is the type of leadership the Republicans have, very chaotic and chaos driven, whereas the Democrats are standing united, ready to deliver better policies for the community.
As you were talking, I saw the excitement. Because one day that will be you. But for right now, we understand that you are in the preparation period. But it's really sad that Trump really made him come to Mar-a-Lago and kiss his ring and made him look weaker.
Yep.
And there are people who support Trump 100% who won't vote for him.
Yep.
What that says to me is, one, Trump didn't want him from the beginning because Trump holds grudges. And when he got on that floor and said he is 100% responsible, Trump ain't forgive him for that.
Right.
Now he's embarrassing him. But he's not going to win this one. Now, at the taping of the show, he had not won yet, and I'm just prognosticating. He's not going to win. And it's going to be somebody else. And it's probably going to be, what's the brother who got shot?
Steve Scalise.
Steve Scalise is probably who's going to be the one who probably they always won anyway, even though he's not any better.
Right.
But the point becomes that's how the dirty politics roll.
So the person who won is no one selected.
No one
No.
one's been able to get to
So
280.
then the other guy we were talking about last week, who was the liar.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
So now he can't. They can't.
So no one has been sworn in. No one has been
Oh, no,
sworn in.
sworn in.
But his website, hold it. His website said just been sworn in by the Speaker of the House. He's just a prevaricating.
So, funny story about
Okay.
him. When he came in on January 3rd, the day that everyone thought they were going to get sworn in,
That's-
there was so much press outside his office that when he walked down the hallway and saw them out there, he just turned around. He has been avoiding press like crazy. And one thing you usually don't see in the halls of Congress is cheers being allowed by the Capitol Police to be outside of an office for someone to sit. But if you walk past his office, there's a row of chairs that are full with reporters from everywhere, all around the world. Brazilian news, Japan news,
Yeah.
all different outlets here in America who are waiting to get interviews or try to catch up with him so that they can ask questions. So it's very interesting. He does have an open case against him in Brazil for writing bad checks. And the only thing that was saving him, the only reason why it wasn't pursued more is because the Brazilian officials could not find him. And I think it's hilarious that you're on the run from a country and you decide to run for Congress. So again, this is I think it's either $700 or $7,000 in bad checks he knowingly wrote with a false name as well too.
Just outright prevaricator, just outright liar. They call them habitual. Yeah, and it's just really sad. And he was able to, and listen, and McCarthy showed his weakness by not even handling that situation because he needs that one vote. But let me just be straight with you, and I'm glad you brought that up as a last piece. There is no speaker. It speaks to where the Republicans are. They are in chaos. Why would we even want them to be in charge? The Democrats are doing it right now. They are being quiet, sticking together. When 24 come around, I hope they keep the tapes, because that's what's going to be most powerful. And that's and if the Democrats would have messed up in New York with all those redistricting and causing the judge to throw out their redistricting, they would still have the House. But a mistake gave us an opportunity to see the chaos. And the chaos is what's got us messed up. Listen, we out of time. We done went from choking to I don't know what you did today. And it's just been a wonderful show. We have so much going on in the new year. And I'm grateful to God to have Sister Shanae Darby with us. Again, she's going to be with us. We just re-signed her contract for another year. And I'm looking forward. She's making about $8.5 billion. Okay. And then we have brother, I'll call him my big brother because he is my big brother, brother Kobe Owens, who is with us, and he's signing on for another year. His is going to be more than hers because he's a male. And and so therefore we are going to come back next year. We want to have fun, but we also want to report to you the news, and we want to share with you the things that people are not sharing. So hope you're enjoying the show. We're looking forward to an even stronger show. Brother Kobe, is anything else left on your desk?
There's nothing else I have to say.
Anything left on your desk?
Today.
Well, until the next time we get together, see ya.
Happy New Year's, y'all.
Soon.